This product is so cool it once sank the Titanic, so sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Now what we have here for you today is the Cooler Master MasterLiquid 240 Pro RGB liquid cooling kit. It is quite a mouthful to say, but once again it is quite a mouthful of a product. It does come with those RGB fans as well as a full RGB header, as you can see on my left. Really nice braided cables as well. Something I didn't quite like setup wise was having the inputs and outputs on the opposite ends of the pump. I didn't like the way it looked, but functionality wise, this thing is a whisper. You barely hear it next to you, especially when I'm comparing it to the Mercury kit. And as you will see when we go into the benchmarks, there is also some nice performance gains. So let's get into that right now, shall we?
Alrighty, so what did we do for testing? What I did was I checked the thermal paste to see which one would give the best thermal performance, and it was actually the Cooler Master MasterLiquid paste that comes with that actual kit did give me the best thermal performance overall. So I tested both setups with that. Now what I did was I tested with the front cover on and with it off. Luckily with this little P400S you can just rip the front cover off literally and then see what the kind of maximum airflow possibilities would be. Now with the cover on, the Cooler Master MasterLiquid Pro absolutely smashes the Antec, and this is at 4.2 gigahertz on our Ryzen 7 2700X, and with obviously maximum load on FPU, CPU and cache within the 8064 benchmarking software, and that saw us get 17% average improvement overall on the Mercury versus the Cooler Master MasterLiquid. And then when you open up the front cover, the Mercury wins. Why? Because of the fan curve. Because I had the fan set up to be absolutely 100% full chat all the time. And this then speaks to the efficiencies of the Cooler Master cooler. With the front cover open and with it closed, the temperatures looked almost identical, which is indicative of a lot better cooling system that can handle without needing as much fan curve. And that results in a massively reduced noise profile. So it went kind of from sounding like having a small F-16 fighter jet next to me to absolutely nothing, and the temperatures remain the same. So I would say overall much better job from Cooler Master to keep that kind of consistency. And I think a little bit of it is down to two things. One being the pump that is within the Antec, and two actually being the surface, the way it makes contact on the surface area, which we'll look at quickly now.
Okay, so just one little thing I want to highlight with the Antec Mercury cooler. Now, the actual radiator itself is of a high quality. There's almost no difference between that and what we have on the Cooler Master. The Cooler Master does have a much better pump system, a 2-chamber pump system, but I still don't think that's the reason that it outperformed the Mercury. What I think happened is actually here on the base plate of the Mercury. Now, if you have a close look there at it, you can see that it's actually got a brushed texture on the base plate. That's kind of productive because it stops some of your contact area. And yes, I hear some of you saying that's why we have thermal paste, but the reality is thermal paste is supposed to help transition on contact. And if you've got less contact area, you definitely are going to have less cooling performance. Whereas with our MasterLiquid Pro, we have a polished base. So that's kind of what's influenced the score there, I think, predominantly. Then as a final thought, what's kind of nice to see is that Cooler Master is aware of these limitations within their cooling stuff and are already reacting to it, which is going to just push the market forward, which is always a good thing, especially for us looking for value in the enthusiast space. So if you are looking for something that is RGB, very quiet, very easy to install as well. The Antec installation compared to this was a lot messier and a lot more difficult. You actually really do need another set of hands on board to be able to do that properly. This thing was really simple, really high quality, nice fittings, nice little plastic Garrix and covers, and just really outstanding quality. And once again, the cabling and systems that they've made for the RGB are very intuitive and don't remove anything from your system. It's a little bit messy, of course. It's a lot of cables. You got two, cables per fan and two for the pump as well. So there's 6 extra cables in your system, but you can still make it look extremely neat inside of there. And the noise levels, it's day and night. You literally cannot compare the two. It's just too far apart from each other. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again here on Turbo Tortoise Tech. Do the likey and subscribe. Let us know what you think of the cooler in the comments down below, and we'll see you for the next one. Have a good one.